All right, what's up, everybody? So today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a radio from Samcom. It is the Samcom FPCN30A. That's the model number. So some representatives from Samcom, I guess seen one of my Baofeng videos, emailed me and asked me if they could send me a radio in exchange for a review. So I said, sure, why not? So I'm actually pretty honored to have my first sponsored review, I guess you call it. Not getting paid, but I get free radios, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm going to give a review of this radio here. Once I gave them my information, it took about 3 days to get the radio through Amazon. They're a Chinese company, and they have warehouses here in the U.S., and they sent it through Amazon. It got here pretty quick, so that was pretty cool. So, one thing I want to say about this radio is, I wasn't given much information on what type of radio this was. So I had to do a little bit of digging, but I eventually figured it out, and well, let's get right into it. First thing I guess we'll do is we'll go straight in the box and show you what came in the box. So, pretty big box. Came with 2 radios. Let me take one out. So, open the box. You pretty much get the radio, charging cable, charging cradle. You get an earpiece, which I never use. You get a battery clip that's already attached to the radio, screwed into the radio itself, not the battery. And you get the antenna, if I can get it out, which is programmed for UHF, or tuned for UHF, 400 to 470. So this is a UHF radio only. Get this stuff out the way. I hope Samcom is ready for my my style of review, because I don't have the best audio or the best camera angles. I don't have all the fancy equipment. But let's get right into it. The radio itself, it feels like a good radio. It doesn't feel real cheap. It kind of sounds cheap because of the battery clip. This battery clip here, you push these buttons together to slide the battery out, and they jiggle. So, very basic. It has an on and off button up top here. This knob here is to change your channels. This radio only has 20 channels. Very basic menu buttons. Very basic menu. It only has a few options here. You have your DCS tones, your CTCS tones. This radio does support split tones. You have a group function. You have a Vox, squelch. You have the beep, which is the beep you're hearing now. You have the CMP, a voice compression. And you also have a scrambler, a voice scrambler. So that's pretty much it as far as the menu goes. You have the PTT button up here. You have a monitor button right there, which you have the long press. And you have your, let's go back to the main menu here, main screen. You also have the scan button here. Now, if you look at the scan button here and watch the scanning going on here, you can see it does not scan very fast at all. It's pretty slow in that aspect. So, speaking of slow, the channel change button is also kind of slow. You can see. Let's turn the scan button off. So it's not real fast changing channels. But you only have 20 channels anyway, so it's not you don't have far to go, really. So like I said, when I got this radio, I wasn't really sure what kind of radio this was. I wasn't sure how to review this radio. I wasn't sure I could even do a good review on it, because I had no idea what this thing was. So if you slide the battery out of here, you can see that the radio actually is FCC certified. It has a number. So I went onto the website to check these FCC numbers, and it does have an FCC ID with the FCC, and it's Part 90 FCC certified. So Of course, I had no idea what that was. I had to do a little bit digging. And Part 90 certified, I guess, is for commercial use. So, unfortunately for me, commercial use, you have to have a proper license to use this radio for commercial use. So, the one part of the test that the company wanted me to do was going to be a test between both radios, and I really can't do that. I wish I could, but I cannot do that. I don't have the proper licensing. But it still doesn't mean I can't give a good review on this thing. An honest review of what I think about it. It does come pre-programmed with DCS tones already in it. Fortunately, you can go into the radio and change it through the radio. I tried, and it does work. You can change it through the radio. What else here? I guess one of the highlights of the radio is the group function, which I think is pretty cool. You can only monitor one channel at a time here on this radio. So, let's say you're monitoring channel 19. You're going back and forth with somebody else. Channel 19, you're talking, you're going back and forth. This group button will allow you to program one channel in this radio to have anybody else with this same radio. You can all have the same group channel programmed in, so that no matter what channel you're talking on, once you hit the group button, your radio will broadcast on all the other radios at the same time who have the same frequency programmed into that group frequency. So it's pretty good for something like that, which is not a bad feature. Like I said, it also has a voice scrambler. So if you want to be a little more discreet and scramble your voice, you can do that. It is set on a high setting, which you can see here. I'm going to get into the software to this because that's where that's going to lead me next. There is no way to change that on the radio to high and low. This radio does put out 5 watts. And if you look here in the programming software, you can come in here and change it from high to low. But you can't change any specific channel, okay? When you change high to low, it pretty much changes all the channels together. Which is okay, I guess, for some people. But the biggest problem is this whole area here in the general settings, it doesn't even work. So you can't program anything in here in this general area as far as your Vox level, your squelch, even your group channels. This section will actually allow you to change your group channel to channel number 1. And so when you write the info to the radio, it'll write your group channel as channel number 1. But it won't let you change it back to any other channel besides channel 1. So once you change it to channel 1, you can't change it back to channel 20, which is 0. You can't change it back to 15. You got to physically go back into the radio and change it back to whatever channel you want, which is a software issue that I guess can be fixed with an update. I'm just not sure it will. I mean, this is not a new radio. It's been around for a while. And that's pretty much what it is over here in this general settings. Now over here, you can go in and change any settings here you want to any channel. Now, the radios and the software they're stock with GMRS channels already programmed in. You can change from narrow band to wide band here on the side. You can change each individual channel, whichever you want here. I guess one of the biggest downsides to this radio is that you cannot program any frequencies directly into the radio. All the programming of frequencies has to be programmed straight through the software and computer. So that's one thing to think about when buying this radio. But unfortunately, it just confuses me how this radio is set up for GMRS, but I don't think it's really certified for GMRS, but it can be used. You can change all these channels. That you could erase all these and put whatever channels you want within this UHF band, but it just comes pre-programmed stock with all the tones and everything set up for GMRS. So with that being said, who would use this radio? I don't know. I guess for optimal usage, you want to be certified and use it for as a commercial radio. It's supposed to be a high power radio. I'm going to do a power test right now so we can test the power to see how powerful this thing is. It's rated at 5 watts. That's what it says on the box. But we'll see. I'll see for myself. We'll see for ourselves what that is, if it's really going to put out the 5 watts that it advertises. For this part of the video, I want to thank Andrew, who is a subscriber to my channel and also lives in my area. So we went back and forth on YouTube. We went back and forth over the phone. And he offered to donate me this Samcom SW33 power meter and SWR meter. I thought that was pretty cool. He said, I guess he bought a new meter and thought it can get better usage here on this channel. So, thank you, Andrew. So let's test this radio out to see if it can really put out the 5 watts that it advertises. Looking at 5.7, 5.6, 5.5. So that's actually pretty good. I mean, let's try that again. 5.6. Yeah, that's 5.7. I mean, this thing was on that first TX that I made. I mean, you're looking at damn near 6 watts. This thing almost pushed out. So the radio definitely puts out what's advertised. It's a 5 watt radio, which is actually pretty awesome. I also just wanted to mention too that while doing this test, I'm going through a dummy load here. So I'm not actually broadcasting on any frequencies, but just able to test to see what the power is on this radio. I believe this radio goes for about 50 bucks if you buy it individually. If you buy it together, you're looking at 100 bucks for the set. Now, with that being said, I've seen these radios on eBay going for $300. So it all depends on the seller and who's selling it. But I think that the normal price for this is for about 50 bucks. So I'm going to get this whole thing disconnected here. And I'll talk a little more about this radio and who might want a radio like this. Okay, so who might want a radio like this? Well, being Part 90 certified, I guess somebody who wants a radio like this would be for commercial use, should be a company. I've read that schools would use something like this. Organizations, churches. Somebody who's going to pay the license fees and use it properly. That's what this radio is intended for, I would think. Who would want a radio like this? Well, somebody who wants to make use of a group function. Talk to many radios at once. Who would want to talk on a radio like this? I guess someone who wants to take advantage of the voice scrambler. I'm not sure if an organization or a school or a church would want to use a voice scrambler, but that option's in there. A lot of newer radios like my Wuxin KG935G here. It's a good radio, a powerful radio. It's a GMRS radio. It cannot broadcast on the ham frequencies. It can only broadcast on GMRS channels. Something like a UV5R. Now, this is my UV5X, but something like a UV5R, the newer ones, they're meant for ham radio. They can broadcast on all the ham frequencies, but they cannot broadcast on GMRS. Something like this that's Part 90 certified through the FCC can broadcast on any frequency in the 400 to 470 megahertz range. So who would want a radio like this? Someone who can listen. I think this radio might be a good radio for a prepper. Somebody who wants something for good emergency communication that can broadcast when need be. Yeah. Somebody who wants 5.7 watts of power would want a radio like this. That's really all I can say about this radio. I mean, I want to thank the guys from Samcom for giving me the opportunity to review this radio and to send me some free radios. That's pretty cool. I hope to do more videos like this in the future. With that being said, I'm going to end this video. And I just want to thank everybody for watching and hope somebody can make some good use out of this video. And I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.